Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to another quick discussion about a thread on the forums. And today it's only going to be two posts, but recently the developers did a Q&A with some players that have been talking to since a long time ago, because these guys have been playing pretty much all the Mountain Blade games, and they kind of give them feedback, you know. And what's it called? They did like a little Q&A with those players, but it was in Turkish, unfortunately, which, I don't understand Turkish. I'm pretty sure some people in my audience probably do. But he does say some stuff about the Q&A, and also some stuff that he learned from the Q&A and the team learned from the Q&A. So I thought, why not? Let's just go over these two posts, see what we can find, and go from there. Alrighty, so without further ado, I'm going to link this down below like always, and let's get right to it. I'm also kind of tired, so bear with me. I might be a little bit slow. I may mess up some of the reading. It is what it is. All right. So first post. All right. So actually, before we get to the post, we have so the title is Q&A about Bannerlord with Tailward's developer Mexico, and I'm pretty sure the first post is just him showing it off, right? Like where it's going on and stuff like that, and people are appreciating it, right? And now the dev states, thanks for your nice comments. Actually, what I am doing is not much, just doing my job, but I'm lucky in my parts that my parts are the visible part of the iceberg. If some guy at the engine team, art team, test team works more than me, you cannot feel it because what they do are not visible, even though they are huge improvements. So campaign programmers are just more lucky. So I'm passing your compliments to the whole team whose works are not visible. Without them, any one dev is nothing. That's right. And I've been saying this, and what's it called? Not exactly this, but kind of when it comes to changes, everybody likes to overlook all the performance changes, all the the small art changes, but they do a lot. The changes to the engine, the changes to how the game runs and all that. It's so important, but it's always overlooked for some new feature or some new this and some new that. And I think without that part of the work being done, the performance and the back end, people wouldn't be able to enjoy all the front end parts that are being made, like the stuff you can actually do in game and stuff that you can see physically with your eyes and stuff like that, right? But all right, he continues. Actually, made a long Q&A with our 8 different hardcore players which play Mountain Blade series since the first Mountain Blade days. We discussed every aspect of the game, detail with all pros and cons. In some areas, I could not answer questions because they were out of my expertise. Then in these parts, players discuss with each other. It was very strange how detailed information they have about the game. Also, most of these players did their mods previously or are currently doing a mod. Okay, so they have a lot of experience with Mountain Blade, modding, and all of that. Cool. He continues, it took 5 hours long. Unfortunately, it was Turkish, and translating it is a very big and hard job. Yeah, probably going to take a very long time, and he, has work to do. I understand. Also, more than translating issue, we have one other problem. This was a Q&A without a permission from company. You know me, I could talk negative about some issues which probably would not be welcomed. I try to be objective. Like every other company in the world, TerraWorlds is doing something good and something bad. It is so normal. There's no perfect company in the world. Big facts. Look at these big facts. But yeah, I do agree. He has to keep it PG. You hate to see it like that, but he does work for somebody. He does have a boss, and like I've said before in other videos, regardless of what you do, even if you say you're self-made, you still got a boss somewhere. You know what I mean? That's just unfortunately how it is, and you do have to follow rules. And I'm pretty sure bad mouthing in his position, bad mouthing the big decision makers or the boss types is probably not the best thing to do in that position. And if anybody's ever worked at a job or who has not worked a job yet, I'm going to give you a quick advice. Doesn't matter how much you hate or how much you dislike the guys at the top. If you want to keep your job and you want to keep that money coming, don't try to be a hero. It won't work. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to ruin your, how can I explain this? Your passion. I'm not trying to ruin your passion. If you have a passion, go for it. But play your cards right. You know what I mean? Play within the rules until you don't have to, if that kind of makes sense, right? The best advice I can give. But all right. So let's keep reading. Like every other company in the world. Okay, we read that. So we talked about all pros and cons, openly make criticism in some parts. I think criticism is always good. If you do not listen to them in long terms, you will always lose. I see so many examples of this in life. True. Anyway, last midweek, there were some announcements we heard, and they told us not to make these interviews without permission. So publishing it is risky for me. There it is, You hate to see it, but that's just how it is. And since he did state this, if you are Turkish, if you do watch my videos, I don't need a translation. It's fine. You know what I mean? We don't got it. If he says it's not that, I'm not trying to compromise him. He does a lot of good for the community. I'm not trying to compromise what he did. I'm not trying to make it, I'm not trying to blow it up. I'm just trying to get to these points that he did want to talk about and give you guys more information. So respectfully, respect his decision, respect the rules, and let's keep it going. Alrighty. Even we did this interview for the sake of game, and it has tons of good, useful feedback for Tail Worlds. It's good to keep it to us for now. Thank you for all your questions. There it is. It was really nice to talk with such an impressive group, which consists of players which have great knowledge from all details of the game. Other previous done Q&As I watched, there were usually one broadcaster who has less knowledge from game. What we did was different because broadcasters was our hardcore players, and it was a different experience. Also, it was so good for me talking 5 hours with players to develop myself about understanding what is important to players. There it is. I don't think I have to keep saying it, but I know there's people who are still stating that, they don't care about the player at all, but there's example after example, and I feel like a broken record at this point of, they do. They do try to interact as much as they can. They try to, make the game as they can, and, here's yet another example, right? But all right, past this, he talks about some board games. I kind of looked at this. It's like he's a board game enthusiast. And I'm going to link this down below if you guys want to check this out. This isn't game related really, so I'm not going to go too far on it, but he has a nice board game. Or I think this is the collection in their studio, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, now he's still talking about the board game here. There it is. Now this is what I wanted to get to. So then someone asks him and says, could you tell us a few things that you learned from this interview? Maybe just an idea or two from the interview that the interview gave you. So some basics. Okay. Alrighty, so here is what he learned from it, right? So number one, so this is the dev, by the way. It's not good removing some familiar quests or used features which your previous game has. Of course, it's good to remove not used ones. It's good to keep some famous quests like Nervous Man or a liked soundtrack from previous games or popular dialogue. True. And on that mind frame, hopefully, which I think they would at the end still add it, but I think features like, feasts, very popular. I think that should definitely be put back into the game. I think they will. Don't get me wrong. I think they will do it, but that would be a very good example. Two, using, and isn't the if I'm not mistaken, isn't some of the sound bits in Bannerlord the same as Warband? I haven't played Warband in a long time, but some of them are the same ones, right? If I'm not mistaken, let me know. Two, Dev continues, using town, castle, village scenes for different purposes is more important than we think. Players should spend time there somehow. It's good adding more usage to these scenes, which spent tons of effort. It's good for players to spend time at different parts of the game. 40% campaign map, 25% settlement scenes, 25% battle scenes, 10% menus. That's right, shuffling through. Yes. 3. It is important for that the game should allow different playstyles, warrior, trader, roguery. It increases replayability. Different playstyles should be balanced. Players should not be forced to play same all time. Yes, we are. I'm not going to say we're currently struggling with that. It's just how can I say this? We do have it. We do have different playstyles, but I feel like definitely need a couple more things added to it, a couple more sprinkles on top to actually really hit that hard, right? So currently we have the warrior playstyle, you take over everything, conquest. We have that. Trader, we also have that. You know, you could do a little smithing trader playthrough and then trade and get all the settlements you want from that. That is also a way to do it. Roguery, currently, if you make everybody mad, you're not going to really survive. So there's not really a Roguery playthrough. For a Roguery playthrough to really work, you would need to increase, like if you can make some bandit relations, if you can do more with the gang bosses in town, we need more of that added for a Roguery playthrough to actually be there. And also, I think for a game like this, we need kind of like a noble way to go about it, right? To actually become, you know, a king, to do diplomacy, not just by taking and, you know, starting wars with everyone. You have the ability to start wars, but actually, you know, trying to be diplomatic, trying to make alliances. We don't have that yet, and I think that's a big chunk that we're missing. And I think once we do get that, and once we have the ability to not just keep fighting and fighting and fighting, but we have the ability to kind of use our speech and use our charm to make our way up, I think we'll be in a great place after that. Okay, now continuing. 4, dialogues are more important than we think. Players should feel himself as a well-known lord, if he is a lord, or king, if he is a king, while playing. Yes, and this is exactly what I'm just talking about. Dialogues, charm, it needs to have a stronger effect that it currently does not have in the game. But saying that, I think it will be eventually, but it's not there currently. 5, having characters with different personalities is one of the key things. Otherwise, you feel everyone in the world is the same and everything becomes predictable and it decreases gameplay. Also true. Right now, we have the trait system, but in my experience in playing, it feels like it doesn't play too hard of a role. Yes, it changes how reputation is given and taken from the player or from other AI, or by how like severe the penalty is for relations, but that's not good enough. Like a very honorable AI Lord and a very dishonorable AI Lord, in my opinion, they play kind of the same right now, which they shouldn't, if that kind of makes sense. We need more differentiation on their play style to actually make that different personality thing actually work, right? 6, it's good giving player more control. Even it is sandbox world, leaving player without any control over world is not welcome. You can hide these things even at dialogues if you do not want them to be easily seen by player. That's true. That's true. I agree. Okay. Now he continues. It's hard to give a full list, but these are mostly underlined things. Of course, there are more. I see these things already underlined in forums too. There actually seem like lists for Mount Blade series, but actually it is not only for Mount Blade. When you analyze these things, you get to the point what players really want. Even you make a board game, you can use the feedback to make a better game. It's hard to tell the situation in English, language barrier. Anyway, let's stop discussing here because unfortunately we will not be able to give you a record of this Q&A with Subtail for a long time. This post should go down. Sorry for this. It is what it is, man. I don't know if he means this post. I'll bookmark this post, and if this does go down, this post, I'll take the video down. You know what I mean? And someone can remind me if I do make the mistake of not taking it down. But I will stick to my guns, and I will respect them and their choice, right? I think he means the actual Turkish interview, not this thread right over here. Because this thread, he's just, you know, saying like the overall aspects, not just concretely, but kind of like overall. And I think this is true. So we'll see where that goes. And yeah, that will about do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. You know, it's kind of informative, kind of, you know, made you think a little bit. Ask me any questions, any concerns, and like always, stay safe.